Hello and welcome to TUC0's Talks. It is another day where we get an opportunity to talk to someone new. Make sure you hit the like, also hit that follow and subscribe button. And here we go for another episode of TUC0's Talks. Hello and welcome to TUC0's Talks. This is TUC0 Wright. I am joined with my friend Derrick Draper. Hey, how are we doing, buddy?
We're good, man. Pleasure to be here.
Man, I'm excited to be here. So for y'all who do not know Derrick Draper, Lieutenant Colonel in the Army and someone I have worked with for a couple years now and just absolutely love his energy, love what he brings to the fight, and think it will be amazing to have some conversations just about what leadership is to you. And then hopefully everybody will enjoy that. But before we get going, why don't you tell everyone who you are and just a little bit about your career?
Yeah. So first of all, just super excited to be here and just talk to you, Chris, today. So I'm the most conventional guy you have talked to. I am just a conventional infantry officer in the United States Army. I just kind of been blessed a little bit with some super cool assignments. And one that led me to be able to work with you and the guys like you. So, but yeah, I very conventional mindset. Like I said, just unique situations thrown in there. I was a PL, did 16 months in my first tour. That was the first part of the surge when we had a third of our force in Kuwait and a third home with their families when they called us back for an extra 4 months. So there's some leadership challenges within that. My company command was the switch from OIF into New Dawn and shutting down the last joint service JSS over in the east side of Baghdad. As a major, I did a company command at 4th RTB as a major. As a 3 for the UNCSB JSA in the DMZ and the Joint Security Area in Korea, and then followed that up by doing an OIR deployment, advise assist in a company with the 101st. And then, we get into, I was the Army Fellow for alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, followed by my stint with you at JIDF NCR, where, we went all over the place to Jordan, Afghanistan, few months there in Syria, and then ended with being the CG's senior ops guy at agency. So just some really unique background from a conventional infantry officer. My last assignment was as the battalion commander for 3187, the Iron Rakkasans down at Fort Campbell. And then I'm back here as the deputy commander for the Old Guard, which again, wildly different stuff and just kind of a really unique career in that I've never been at the brigade level or above. I've been at the battalion level and below, fighting the fight for 20 years now. So just very, very fortunate to have some really cool experiences.
Yeah, no, those are crazy. So conventional, I don't think so. There's nothing conventional about that career that you got going there, and some amazing things, especially overseas, and just the mission sets that you were on. You bring a lot to the fight. And I just appreciate you being here and appreciate what you've done and what you're doing right now. If people don't know about the Old Guard, can you just tell people what that is?
Yeah, so we are the 3rd Infantry Regiment. We're the ceremonial regiment for really the Army and to, for lack of better words, really DOD. We head all the joint services. So, being the couple days after Veterans Day here. So that is our soldiers at the tomb. It's our soldiers that make up the majority of the force that will do every ceremony from presidential arrivals to speeches. Our big planning sessions have already started for the inauguration and things of that nature. So we will do all of the ceremonial things around DC, but we also have the honor of doing the mortuary affairs mission for all the burials at Arlington National Cemetery. So just a extremely humbling experience, and something that really puts perspective on what we've been doing.
Yeah, man. And everything that we talk about here is about taking care of people. Like, How do we lead people? How do we take care of people? And what you're doing right now, there is nothing bigger in the DOD than taking care of that. And so, man, super proud of you. I'm excited that you're there. You are the right person for that job, for sure, for sure. All right. So one of the things that I love about what you do is you are extremely excited about your job, extremely excited about what you do, and you stay motivated all the time. How do you do that?
First off, just thanks for the comments. Most people would see that as my hyperactivity going crazy. But I haven't worked a day in my life. I really truly love what we get to do every day. And I think the grind to be the best team that we can possibly be excites me every morning. It's just, it's all I've known my whole life is athletics and sports and competition and trying to find a way to be the most elite part of that team that you're on that you can possibly be. And that drive kind of gets me up every morning and excites me that I can have a positive impact on somebody's life, and we can make a difference in the way that we execute today and tomorrow. Is just I really really enjoy it. I think not everybody's built the way I am. I think they told me that I was like the second highest rated extrovert ever tested at JSOC, so there's some of that's in there. But like it just people and the ability to impact them in a positive manner just really drives me. And I'm a little bit, my wife would tell you, a little bit competitive about it. And so, yeah, that pursuit of excellence is something that I just really enjoy.
Yeah. Okay. There's so much to unpack there. So let me see if I can ballpark that. So extrovert to the nth degree is correct. I'm actually an introvert. And so,
Yes.
it takes me a lot to wake up every day and to get in. And so sitting right beside you was exhausting at times. But I think a lot of it is personality, right? But I also think a lot of it is mindset. And like when you're waking up and you're excited and you're not working a day in your life, that's incredible. And that's the one thing just remember being like, man, I wish I had a lot more of that, and it was always fun to see your energy crank. One of the other things that you said was, I've always loved athletics. How is athletics, working out, gym time, all those things sort of interacted and infused and continued your motivation?
Yeah, it's sophomoric in nature, but I've told people, my life goal is to be a professional athlete, and I attained it. People pay me to work out, they pay me to work out, and I have to build a team, and we have to rehearse drills, and we have to be the best at what we do, and somebody's going to test me, and we're going to go to a game, and it is the ultimate paid athletic sport. Because the consequences of you running a poor play on Sunday are much different than what we do every day. And so, that is a very sophomoric explanation of what we do. But it is the same in a lot of areas. It takes a level of commitment to excellence that few people will ever understand and ever really commit to, but you see it in athletics everywhere. You see it in Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady, and this just desire to excel beyond everybody else, and this commitment to something that you can't see, and that people don't see what it took to perform as we do on the battlefield, right? There's a lot of cold days, a lot of long runs, a lot of weights that have to be moved to be able to sustain greatness like that. And that pursuit, I think, just really drives me.
Yeah, no, that's great. And by the way, congratulations for getting Brady in the conversation. I was wondering if you were going to be able to do that sometime today.
Of course I am.
That was good. So I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast the other day, and there was something about hey, what are the consequences of sleeping less than 4 hours? And they said they were huge. You could do back to back 8 hours, but if you do a 4 hour and then back to an 8 hour, what are the consequences? And they were like, oh, it's enormous. I was like, well, I'm host because, what we do and what we've done in the military career, sleep is absolutely secondary to what we have accomplished. And you're right on thinking about that. So, well, let me switch gears a little bit here and talk
Yeah.
about you're performing at these higher level, but you also have high performing individuals that work for you. And so how do you work with them and lead people like that?
Yeah. So first of all, best part of the job. Best part of the job. I'm just a dumb kid from Maine. That has been super lucky and super blessed to have some opportunities that I've somehow fumbled my way through doing okay at. But the guys and gals that have worked for me, they're the ones that really carry this. I think the biggest thing I can say is you gotta let them go. Like you've got to recognize talent as fast as you can, and then give them full control. That is, I think I'll talk about professional risk at some point in time in this thing. I think you've got to. Your job is to let these young, immensely talented leaders run as fast as they possibly can, and they're going to mess up. And when they do, you protect them at all costs from above, at all costs. You take every brunt of that risk that you allowed them to inherently take upon themselves, and then you counsel hard. You counsel real hard, because the kids that are that talented, that are that good at what they do, when you give them hard coaching, they take it to heart and they won't do it again. But that comes at, you've got to take the professional risk of not turning around and saying, I don't know why they did that. It is, no, because I told them they could do that, because I need them to do that. And they were learning in this environment that was safe, and it was okay for them to learn. And then behind closed doors, you counsel hard and you hold them accountable for what they did wrong and the decision that they made wrong. But man, you gotta let those horses go, and you gotta let them just run, because they're gonna drag you places that you never thought you could get to. And so I just, and embrace it, embrace the talent that is within our formations, and let those kids take you where you want to go. When you need to, fix them, and then let them right back out into pasture and let them run.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. That is exactly it. And so, we've talked about high performers, we've talked about athletics, we've talked about special operations, and every single time the leaders are like, go do it. But here's the caveat to something that you put in there. Make sure you're the one with the shield. Protect them at all costs. Because if you don't protect them, then you're going to teach them not to do that again. And so that is such a caveat. And you'll see a lot of leaders be like, yeah, go, go, go. And then you be like, no, I can't believe they did that, and leave them out to pasture. And you can't do that. And so I loved that. And then counseling, communicate, go back, have the hard conversations. Those are the times where you get to invest even more. And then at the end, be like, all right, go do it again, and, we just had Colonel Stenger on,
Yeah,
phenomenal leader, and
yeah,
just someone who taught me, and he's like, I don't necessarily want you to run with scissors, but I want you to walk really fast. And
really fast.
I think those are the caveats. That's exactly where you want to be.
They
So
gotta
those,
trust that you're gonna protect them, right? They gotta trust that you have their backs, and that their careers as captains and lieutenants aren't over, right? We've got 20 years in. We can accept professional risk. We're the ones that
yes,
can do all that. But in order to get the most out of them, they've got to be able to experience and fail and succeed, and be praised for succeeding, and then counseled very, very hardly if they mess it up, because they know what right is. And so, yeah, I totally 100% on board. But you gotta, if you're gonna want to see the best of people, you gotta give them the space to do it, and they'll surprise you.
yes, they'll surprise you for sure, for sure. Okay, So tell me about your boss. When I say, all right, who's your favorite boss? Don't say names, but think about that person. Try not to throw in the pronoun or he or she to give it away. But
Yeah.
who is that person that you're like, oh, they were fantastic? And then give me some qualities of that person, or maybe even people.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think we stay in this business, those of us who do, because of the people that we've been around and the people we've been led. I could have picked 7, 8 people in my head for this. Their commonality is just their passion and commitment to the team, right? Like this is just that never ending desire to make people around them better. Um, the people that you'll love are just, they're so connected to the welfare of the people that they're around. They know about your family. They understand what's driving you. They understand if you say no to something they want you to do because of your daughter's whatever, your son's whatever. They are fully emotionally and physically invested into the people that they're around. And they're willing, I just said it before and I apologize for saying it again, that they're willing to take professional risk for the betterment of the organization, and they show it, and you can see it. It's just those are the people. Those aren't the easiest bosses I've ever had. The one that I'm responding about, whew, right? You talk about sleep. That was a 9-month deployment of, as an XO. There's many people who know that I slept for 4.5 hours a night for 9 months straight, and they're shake their heads. But he enabled us to achieve things we never thought we could because he willed it to happen. I talk a lot. He willed it to happen. No, this is what we're gonna do. You'd be confused. Sir, that's not possible. And they're like, oh, that's what we're gonna do. And you worked so hard just to try to live up to what they believed we were. Right? Their vision of what we were and what we could be was better than anything we thought. And so you had to try, because they trusted you so much and they empowered you so much, you had to try to live up to it. And that's the thing that resonates the most for me when you're talking about just a tremendous leader.
Yeah, and I think it's funny that in our world, we look at leaders and they are tough, they're skilled,
Yeah.
they are people who can drop munitions or shoot a target or run really fast or whatever it is that makes you admirable in everyone's eyes. But when I ask people, tell me about their best boss, I'd say 90% of the time people are like, they took care of the people the best.
Yep.
They loved on that. And your words were, they looked after the team. And that's what you love. I mean, you love the fact that people will take professional risk, like you said, and lay it all out on the line. And one of the things I talk about risk, and at some point we're going to have a podcast on risk, is it's all about management. It is
Yeah.
risk management.
That's right.
Which means inherently you're going to have to be risky. And what, and more specifically, who are you going to be risky on? And so that's a good employee, but also a great boss who will do that. And
Absolutely.
for us, I mean, you're looking at 20 years in, what are you going to do? Just ask me to leave. Okay, that's fine. But for a senior captain who's about to be at major and their career is going to go in totally different directions, that's a lot of risk. There's a lot of risk.
It's a huge amount. It's a huge amount. And those are usually the guys and gals that are the most talented too. And those are the ones you got to protect at all costs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so their job is to take risk on people who've been in 1-2 years and
Yes.
18, 19-year-olds. Like, that's a job. That's a job. You better figure out who your people are pretty quick. And
yeah, well, and that's an interesting comment, Chris. Just and our captains, the amount we put on our captains from an Army level, and it's no different than any other service, but like just the amount we're putting on them, every system we invent, every system, this is going to make everybody's life easier. It does at the division, brigade, and battalion level, and it all ends at a captain and a senior NCO who has to do all of it. Now it is immense, the amount of pressure we put on these young officers and NCOs, to do all of the things that we're asking our military to do now. So yeah, I mean, I think it's inherent in the senior leaders within the military that we got to find a way to get our trust, and that usually comes from making sure that somebody speaks for them at a higher level.
Yes, and that's for me. I was lieutenant colonel. I'm going to be at 20. I'm walking away. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But say I was, lieutenant colonel promotable or colonel select for some of the branches, and I have a high potential. I'm 2 below twice, or I don't even know if they do that anymore, but your trajectory is high. Now you have a lot of risk, and it takes one quick second. And are you willing to sacrifice everything to make sure your team's better? And not because your career is going to go higher, but because you're taking care of your teammates. And I loved your comment of they took care of their team. Like that was their thought.
That was, yeah, it's all that mattered. Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. All right. So, we're on a constant trajectory to learn. So you're 20 years in now. What are you learning?
Yeah, love this question. So my immediate answer is how to coach football. That's what I'm learning right now.
It's big.
It's big. It's fun. Yeah, you learn a lot about yourself in battalion command. So the honest answer is I'm learning. I'm relearning. I'm rebluing. I'm reassessing myself and gaining a lot of new ones on how to be a good follower. Right. How to follow the right way, how to take intent and then execute violently on behalf of the boss, on behalf of the head coach, to not own things myself. For a long time, I was operating for myself, honestly. JF, there was a lot of independent, right? I was talking for the boss, but it was only me. So it was going to be, so you're making a lot of independent decisions, and then battalion commander, there is a lot of independent decisions. And I'm having a lot of fun remembering how to be a tremendous follower, and somebody that takes credit for nothing, because I make zero decisions. Commanders make decisions. But how do I get enough and the right information in front of the commanders so that they can make well-timed, informed decisions for the betterment of everybody? How do you lead without having the title of leader? I think those are the things that I'm working the most on, because when I see myself, when this game ends, for me in the Army, that's what I'd like to do. And I'm not going to walk into being a head coach, right? I'm going to walk into being an assistant coach at something. And I need to make sure that I understand how to do that. Whether it is my dream of coaching or whether it is in the professional world, I got to remember how to not be a commander, how to really listen, and how to really get what that boss, whatever that boss ends up being, what they need to make really timely, important decisions, but still make an impact and still be a leader within the organization. So that's what I'm working on right now, and I think it's a really good time for me to work on it. The DCO position is I find it to be tremendously fun, because it's so challenging to have a lot of the impacts you want to have, while sitting in a DCO role that's really doesn't exist, right? It's just like I go do the things that the boss doesn't have time to do, and I got to do them in a manner that he or she would be proud of, so that we're getting the results that they want without them being there.
Yeah, no, that's really challenging. And one of the things that I really liked and keyed in on what you said was the fact of how do I lead without that title of the leader? And so how do you project your way out? And I think that is a challenge for all young leaders and those who are not in the official leadership position. How can I go and insert myself and bring people together and positive move that organizational forward without that duty title? And a lot of that has to do with how your leader empowers you and gives you
Absolutely.
that opportunity.
Absolutely. And it's, you know, it's what I tried to challenge my staff to do, but it is, you know, you have to find a way to be value added. You have to go find work, right? Like you have to find work and find things that matter. But again, it just like you just said, without my regimental commander's blessing to go do that at a really aggressive level, I would say, you know, it's not even his personality. I think I get along with my current boss so well because it's not his personality, but he can send me on it because he can give me intent and I can go launch into something. And he can rest assured that I'm going to do what he wanted me to do. And I'll come back to him when he needs to make the decisions because I've gone too far. But he can enable me to be super aggressive, and he can continue to manage the way the 3rd Infantry Regiment commander has to manage at that high of a visibility position, right? So yeah, it's super fun.
That is awesome, right up your alley.
Yes.
That's good stuff. All right, well, I can't thank you enough for being here. This has been great to have some discussion about leadership, especially the high performers and things like that. Before we go, do you have any final thoughts or anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, and you gave me a heads up that you know I'll ask you for final thoughts at some point. And I just you know I think I owe it to people. You know, us old guys, we end up having to teach the young guys, and so you know one thing, and this is you know Johnny Post really enabled me to see myself this way. There's a guy you should call before me. But you know, lead with love, right? Don't be afraid of it. We're in this super hyped, you know, I have to be tough about everything. Man, if you can find your ability to lead with love, to love what you do, to love the people, to love the mission, to just give everything you've got and not be afraid that you may tell those people that you love the most to go do something super difficult that may have lasting impacts on the rest of their lives. But I want you to feel that. I've been told for a long time I'm too close with my soldiers. I'm too close with my NCOs. I'm too close, and I don't believe that's true. And I still don't believe it now, and I never will. I want to feel the impact of what I'm asking them to do to their families, to their kids, to potentially their lives. I want to feel that every time I make a decision as a leader. And I think a lot of young officers are being taught, and NCOs for that matter, like, no, it's just execute the mission, execute the mission, execute the mission, and results are all that matters. And I just ask them to, you know, find it in your heart. Lead with love, lead with compassion, lead with caring, and you're going to find so much more success within your teams, but also success within your life. You're going to be so much happier with the person and the leader that you are and the teams you create when you find the ability to lead through love. And then, Chris, you know, like I hit that and then I go right to, you know, I just went to my son's sophomore college final football game, right? I had 2 years left, man, because he's not making the NFL. I love him, but he's not. I do. He's great. But, you know, and man, DOD is going to be fine. Your unit, fine. It doesn't need you. I don't care how good you are. It doesn't need you. It's going to exist. And so just make sure as you travel this journey that you're making decisions that when you get done and you look back on it, you made the right decisions as best as possible for your family, for your children, for your wife and husband, but also for the military. But it's got to be in an order that when you get done, you know that the Army didn't stop. Your unit didn't stop. Nobody stopped for you. So make sure when you decide whether or not you're going to that soccer game, that recital, that whatever, that parent-teacher conference, was the email worth it to not go? Or should you have gone? All right. And so, if you can find a balance where you're making some choices for you and you can find a way to lead those that you lead through love, I think you are on to a path that makes you a heck of a leader, but also really, really fulfilled whenever this job gets done for you.
Yeah. And that for us, the type A people who are constantly going, the ability to stop or slow down, I mean, it's so hard. It's so hard. Yeah, if you figure that one out, if you could just write that down for us all and just let us know how to do that effectively, that would be great. But man, you're spot on what we need. So
yeah, well, that's why I tell other people, Chris, because I didn't figure it out as fast as I should have. So I have to tell other people to try to be better than me.
Yeah, and that is a lot of leadership is don't do what I did, be better.
That's right. That's right.
And so you're right on. You're right on. Well, Derrick, man, I really appreciate it. A lot of this time and just your efforts to be here and what you're doing right now. Again, I'll say it's incredible. Just thank you for taking care of the people and thank you for taking care of those who didn't make it home and those family members as they're dealing with everything that they are. So couldn't be more proud. So thanks.
Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. And until next time, this is TUC0's Wright. Check it out. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's talks. It was a lot of fun. Hey, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. All the money that's made from TUC0's talks goes back to Morae Classical Schools. Morae Classical Schools is a small, private, classical Christian school that's specifically designed for military families. Our goal is to be able to provide scholarships to military kids so they can go. Go check out moraeclassical.org for more information. All right, have a great week. Until next time.